Okay.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
You know, I had to reach out to you because you had a lot of moms and sisters and uncles and liberal white people, angry black people like, who is this Negro doing this? You know.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you stepped in very quickly and was like, no, stronger together, no beef. And I was like, all right, I'm good too. Parallel thinking, but also let's see what we can do together. You know?
Yeah. So I made the prep school Negro. You made the private school Negro.
Yes.
Here we are.
Here we are.
And it's a really beautiful moment.
Yes.
Like it really is. I remember I've had my title since 9th grade.
Oh,
when
wow.
I walked into my high school,
Wow.
and I was like, because I was going through papers I should have been going through, and I was like, they called the kids the Negroes in the 60s for the program that brought me to the school. And I was like, well, I guess I'm a 9th grade. I was like, I'm a prep school Negro.
Oh, wow.
I would say it secretly to some people. And then I wanted to do something, and then I made the movie, you know, came out. Tell me about your choice to go private school Negro for your comedy.
So there's two parts to this. One, you know, when I came into my version of what my blackness was, I read this one book called King of the World, and it talked about how Muhammad Ali represented a new type of Negro. Like an independent, strong, politicized, I'm a Muslim, you know, blackness. I'm changing my name. Don't call me by that name. And I was like, that's what I want to be. And I just love the word Negro as a reminder of the Civil Rights era and as a way to people go, can I even say Negro?
And it's a powerful word.
It's a powerful word.
word.
And I think, again, it's like Negro was one of the first words that black people got to choose for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, up until that point, it was like, you know, like it's, you know, there's, first of all, there's the word nigger, and then there's like, you know, there's colored, which black people are like, oh, yeah. And there's sort of like all these different words, like that sort of white people putting on black people, and then black people claim the word Negro. And for me, it was like it's the first time black people felt the power to stand up and go, no, we're not going to accept the words you give us. And it's sort of a reminder that we can always redefine ourselves, and we still, you know, we will always redefine ourselves.
Yeah.
And so then the private school part of it. So my first special was semi-prominent Negro, just because I felt like I was becoming semi-prominent because of my career, and then with the new one, it really felt like a way to sort of like let people know what you're getting into. If you're on Netflix and you're like, do I want to watch this comedy special? I don't want you to click on the special and go, oh, a black comedian doing black comedy is the way I think from the tree of Def Jam. If any of this is not your thing, then keep it moving. It's important to me to claim my own space, and a lot of who I am is wrapped up in that title of private school Negro. Like, also as a way to go, sometimes you get afraid, and I'm sure you've been in this position, to be around black people and let them know you went to a prep school or a private school. Because you feel like it lessens your authenticity. And so this part of my life, especially now that I've had kids and I got 3 daughters now, I have to be able to comfortably and strongly claim who I am so I can teach, hopefully model for them how to do it.
With my first film, The Prep School Negro, the whole discussion was there's no such thing as a black experience. There's experience of being black.
Yes.
And how can we allow for the non-monolithic view and little boys that love to dress up in Hulk uniforms, little boys that lock themselves in rooms and read all darn day long.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, I'm envious of black kids growing up now because there is an ability to go find your community on the internet. Whereas like when I was a kid, like I felt like I'm the only black person in the world who likes the band's Living Colour and Fishbone. Because when I go to the concert, I only see the black people on stage. Or that one black guy across the room who looks at me like, I see you, you know. So.
Right. For me, I use the term psychological homelessness. That's what I describe in that moment of like, where is my space? How do I fit in?
Who are my people?
Yeah. And like you go at home, you're like, well, I fit in, but don't fit in completely. In a neighborhood, I fit in, but don't fit in completely. And in school, I fit in, but don't fit in completely. And I noticed in your book, you talk about it being weird, is how you described it. Tell me more about like understanding that experience of being the weird guy. What did that mean for you?
So for me, it was like, you know, going to, like, because I really mostly went to private schools, but then there were times where my mom would just have to put me into public school because of just various, like, we just got to this town, we moved around a lot, this is the closest thing, and so I really got to feel the swing of the difference between a lot what public schools generally represent and what private schools generally represent. And so for me, it was like knowing that, like, neither one of these feels like my home, but I feel like I can breathe better here, even though there's certain challenges in the private school. And then you feel guilty for being able to breathe better in the white space. like, what does that say about me? You know?
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I made this movie, The Prep School Negro. Folks needed to have the conversation about being other.
Yes. I was lucky in high school that I met a couple dudes who sort of like, we just sort of, for lack of other friends, we became really great friends, and one of them is still my best friend. But they were two white Jewish dudes, so so it was like, this isn't helping my credit with the black people in the school. And we weren't alike. Rob was a guitar player, Jason was like a Marxist Grateful Dead head, and I was a dude who liked Saturday Night Live and stand-up comedy, you know? So for me, it was like, your group of friends did not have to reflect your interests all the time.
Yeah.
They just had to reflect your humanity. So me and Jason, if Jason walks in this room, you wouldn't go, that's Kamau's best friend. That bald Jewish guy is Kamau's best friend, you know, who owns an independent bookstore. But it's like, but our hearts were the same. And so very early on, I learned that, like, don't get caught up in where you think you should be or who you think you should be friends with. The thing about, like, when I think about Jason and Rob is that, okay, we sit at the same lunch table. For some reason, we're at the same lunch table. It was first like a group of like all the misfits, 15 misfits, and then eventually just me, Jason, and Rob sitting together, and like everybody let us alone. And through that, we're not the same, but Rob is like, what do you mean you don't know who Miles Davis is? And he's like, we're going to his house listening to Miles Davis, and Jason's like, what do you mean you don't never been to a Grateful Dead concert? And I'm going to the Grateful Dead concert. And like, what do you mean you don't stay up late watching Bruce Lee movies? Like, you know, like, I mean, sort of like, and we all experience each other's things that we like, and our otherness actually brings us together and makes us more interesting people. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, because we now have these different experiences that now I can go out and go like. And somebody will say Frank Zappa, and I'm like, yeah, I like his early stuff better. Because I just allowed myself to be in situations that, and not question if it was, like, is this the right place to be? These guys aren't like me. They're Jewish. I'm black. I should be with the black kids table over there, even though those black kids look at me like I'm an alien. You know, so like, where should I go? But it's like, oh, I'm just going to go where I feel comfortable.
What's interesting about this is I was very popular in my high school because I was very outspoken.
That's where we separate, sir.
Cancel,
cut.
But even then, like when I made a movie and my classmates saw it, they were like, whoa, we didn't really know you.
Yeah. Inside, I didn't feel wrong. Outside, I was sort of reflected I was wrong or weird or not normal. But holding on to the inside, like, this is what I am. It's not a bad thing to be. Just sort of like trusting that. You know?
Well, I think 10 years ago, 5 years ago, to say things about these private school environments that feel more comfortable in other places would have been challenging. People just wouldn't hear it.
Well, I mean, what we're really saying is pre-Obama.
Yeah. I like to say we went from pre-Obama to post-Wakanda.
Oh, yes.
You know, so it's a whole new, like,
Yep.
in the face of all that's happening in the world with this wonderful president we have and all the people, how do you stay resilient? How do you stay strong? I
mean, I feel like now, I'm going to go back to my kids. Like, I feel like my job is not to hand them a more screwed up world than the one that was handed to me. And right now, we actually, like, as weird as it sounds, it could sort of go back from where I was born in 73. It could go back from where it was in 73. Like, it's just like, wow, that would be weird, but it's entirely possible. So my job is to, like, you know, take in all the projects I believe in, only do work that I think is actually elevating the conversation or raising the voices that aren't being heard from enough. And because I'm a comedian at, like, my core, like, I'm an only child, I'm a black man, I'm a comedian. It makes it my natural response to intense fear, intense anger, intense pain is to figure out a way to make it funny. Process it through humor so I can be like, it sucks so bad. Like, figure out some way. Yeah. And sometimes I'm not doing it on purpose. My brain is just trying to process the information. Oh my God, Sean Spicer is such a bad press secretary, and he seems so weird, and why does he seem so sorry, and blah, 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 blah. That's a good joke. I'm going to tell that in my Netflix special. You know, so a lot of it is like that my brain is constantly figuring out ways to lighten the load. And I think we all have to figure out ways to lighten our load. It doesn't have to be humor, it can be music. You know, everybody was blasting Aretha Franklin recently. So it's a way to sort of like lighten your load so you can do the work. You can't just do the work. You have to figure out ways to lighten your load.
I went to college with Sean Spicer.
Was it Bless His Heart?
Yeah, exactly. Bless his heart. Sean Spicer. Bless his heart.
Bless your heart.
There you go. Let's wrap us out. I really want to show and say and share some deep gratitude for this. This is really amazing you came into this. I told people from the beginning, I was like, nope, We're gonna do like Madam Clinton said, stronger together. You know?
Yeah, and we need to. If people of like minds need to help each other, so I will do whatever I can to help keep this conversation moving. So,
That's what's up. Thank you.